It's great to be with you. I'm going to start with you, Charlotte. There are statistics that show that violence against transgender people was already high. 2.5 times more likely to be victims of violence than cisgender people. From 2017 to 2021, the number of trans people murdered more than doubled. 73% have been killed with a gun. Right. And yet, we're now seeing the moral panic over trans folks shifted onto this Nashville massacre.
That's right. It seems that the Republican Party, as usual, just can't seem to do basic math. Since January 1st, 2016, there have been 3,580 mass shootings in the United States based on the Gun Violence Archive. Less than 5 of those have been trans. So we're saying that 99.7% at least of the mass shooters have not been transgender. So if we're going to ban someone, maybe we should ban people who are not transgender from owning weapons, if that's the logic. But I don't think that's what they're trying to say, is it? They're not trying to fix the problem. They're trying to weaponize it and exploit these senseless deaths. 3 9-year-olds who were brutally murdered just for their own bottom line in the ballot box. It's disgusting. It's hypocritical. And by the way, as a Christian, I find it offensive that they would leverage Christ's teachings in such a heinous way against innocent people.
You know, Jim Wallis, I'm so glad that you were available to talk today, because there is this thing that's happening where it's kind of hard to avoid the sort of Christian element to it. There is a moral panic over LGBTQ folks in general, but trans folks in particular. Do you have any idea where that is coming from?
LGBTQ are initials that all stand for somebody who's beloved of God, made in the image of God. Let's be clear about that. This is all a distraction from hate. That's what they're using this for, distraction. Here's a moral fact. The leading cause of death now for our children and teenagers are guns. Yeah. Leading cause. Now here's a moral conclusion from that moral fact. We're not protecting our children. That's right. If it were websites or poison food or some website, we would take care of it. Yeah. But a Republican says, there's nothing we can do. This is needed for our freedom. So what he's saying there is we will sacrifice our children for the sake of what he calls freedom. Mm-hmm. So let's ask, what kind of freedom is this? Yeah. For whom? From whom? This is a question he has to ask. You said worship in your opening segment there. There was an ancient god called Moloch. Leviticus talks about Moloch, who was a god that children were sacrificed to in flames. And the Bible is very tough on Moloch. Guns are our new Moloch.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Guns are the Moloch. We're sacrificing our children to Moloch when we could do easy, common sense things.
Yeah. You just triggered me to look. Jeff Charlotte tweeted a photo. I have to show this. This is a photo of a bullet at the center of a cross. Mm. That is sacrilege. Mm. That you have this worship of guns by people who are calling themselves Christians.
Well, white Christian nationalists are white nationalists, and Christian gets thrown in there. Mm-hmm. So they're white more than Christian. And I'm just saying, let's be Christian more than white. Yeah. So it is false worship. It is the worship of Moloch. And it is really, it's a heresy. Let's call it a heresy. White Christian nationalism, which is behind all this, is literally a biblical heresy.
And Charlotte, I mean, the thing is that there are real people that are being impacted. Your community is being impacted. And I wonder if there is a way to disentangle people's sort of not understanding of trans folks, right? I think the T is the toughest one in the alphabet soup, right? In the LGBTQ, the T gets right, because people don't have an understanding. People, even if they're not mean or not angry, don't have an understanding. Is there a way to sort of disentangle people's lack of understanding from this? This moral panic is now getting drag shows banned, even though that isn't trans.
No. And I think children are only unsafe at drag shows when a shooter shows up to kill them.
That's right.
That's where the threat is. I would challenge anyone just to get to know trans people. We are a vibrant, diverse community, as diverse as anyone else. You know, I'm from the great state of Texas. I served in the military. I go to church every Sunday. My faith is very important to me. But God made me in her image. God made me transgender. And to see these people so cynically weaponize this and exploit these children's deaths and their teachers' deaths, it breaks my heart. I wonder what those families are thinking right now.
What do you feel when you have somebody like Michael Knowles say at CPAC, we need to eradicate transgenderism, and when somebody like Tucker Carlson says that transgender people are at war with Christians?
I can't see Christ in their words. That's for damn sure. I can't see where the biblical principles of loving your neighbor and walking the walk with Christ that they can see. I can't see what they're seeing right now because that's not of Christ. It's not.
Yeah, and I'll give you the last word.
I'll be stronger. This is antichrist.
Yes.
This is anti-gospel, antichrist. And so this is a false worship we're confronting here. We've got to confront it theologically and not just politically.
Amen.
Politicians could do something if they wanted to. What's behind that is they are worshiping a false god, and they're literally sacrificing all our children. I'm from MSU. Yeah. When the shooting hit, 50,000 kids, all the parents called.
Yeah.
Parents got to not just keep calling. Parents and students have to act.
That's right.
To change all this, and we can do it.
Amen.
We can do it.
Amen. Charlotte Clymer,
Let's pray for
stay
these
safe. We absolutely are. Absolutely. Charlotte Clymer, Jim Wallis. Thank you both. I really appreciate it. You were the two specific people that I wanted to talk to about this today. So thank you for making yourselves available. All right, coming up.